How's it going, everyone? Welcome to PanGeekery Podcast, a weekly live video podcast celebrating all things geek from an all diverse perspective. We're going to be talking about film, TV, video games, all the cool stuff in geekdom. All of it. It's going to be cool. My name is Earl Balon, and the first video game system I ever paid for with my own money was a Nintendo Wii.
I'm Walter, and the first video game system I paid for, I would say, is probably a Game Boy.
The OG Game Boy?
The OG
Spinach green Game Boy?
What do you do?
Like Tetris.
No, you didn't say what you do. Like,
oh, sorry. I heard the question and I was like, oh, game system. What am I gonna? Sorry.
I buy game
Walter,
systems.
and I am a camera guy, an editor, and just all around filmmaker.
Hi there. I am Jennifer Zhang. I'm an actor, writer, immersive theater performer, and whatever else I do. And the first gaming system that I ever bought for myself is a PS3, and I bought it along with Final Fantasy X.
Ooh.
hey everyone, my name is Caitlin Faye. I'm a writer, director, actor, and a singer, and I have never paid a dime for a gaming system.
How dare you?
Must be nice.
Oh. No, I basically just use everyone else's gaming systems, and that's how I roll.
Sugar daddy.
My sugar
Hi.
daddy.
Sorry. No, you're good.
Go on.
Hi. I'm Lee Chesley. I'm a stunt woman. And I think the first console I bought was the Xbox.
Nice. OG Xbox.
The enemy.
Well, as everybody can see over there in chat, everybody in chat. What's up, chat, by the way? As everybody can see, we do have a guest at the table today. Yay! Lee Chesley. Everybody say hello.
Hi. Where do I look?
Also tell we are in new digs for today, just for this stream.
Whose place are we at?
We are at Aaron's, producer Aaron's place.
Producer.
Yay! So, yeah, a little break from our usual digs, but it's gonna be cool. I'm getting some echo somewhere. Sorry. Anyway,
That's your booming godlike voice.
I know. I got.
That's Morgan Freeman being proud of you.
Right. Anyway, so everybody in the chat, feel free to hit us up. We will get to your questions as soon as possible. We are going to be talking about a few cool things during this episode. We're going to be talking about Birds of Prey. We're going to be talking about previewing upcoming games, TV shows that are coming up. We're going to talk to Lee here for a little bit. And finally, we're going to talk about like what we're going to do for the rest of this season, including video game streams and stuff like that. So let's get into it. No sponsors today. That feels weird.
What?
I know. No shout.
No sponsor.
Shout out to
Aaron.
to Aaron.
Thank
Brought
you,
you
Aaron Redmond.
By Aaron Redmond. Yeah.
By 825 Southfield.
www.aaronredmond.com. No, do we have to buy that now? Okay.
Yeah.
So we are going to be, as you know, we started some other projects besides our mainstream. We're going to be doing Nerd News, which are videos, and the games that we usually play during stream. We're going to have those on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So we're going to release those soon. We're going to start posting some game segments, doing the streams on Saturdays. That's going to be cool. We're going to start covering more stuff, hopefully. WonderCon, if anybody's going to be there, Anaheim, this spring. Yeah, Lee's going to be there. So
I'll be on one of the panels.
nice. Which one?
There's one that's a martial arts and dance
Badass.
and mix of stuff. So
Nice.
I'll be there. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Yeah, cool. What's up to Guts Heat in chat?
Hey, Joel. How's it going?
What's up?
What?
So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to go through. So first off, welcome Lee to
Thank
the
you.
table.
Thank you so much for
being
having
here.
me.
Yeah. So you said earlier, but you were a stunt woman,
Yes.
a dancer.
Yeah. My background's in breakdancing, so I
Cool.
started breking like fresh out of high school, and I just
So you're going to do that tonight for us,
Right,
right?
yeah, right
Yeah,
here.
totally.
Right
On this
here.
table.
On the
Yeah.
table.
That's
Clear it
wood, right?
For lower coefficient of friction.
This is a nerd
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
How did you get your start? Like,
I got my start with breaking actually kind of accidentally. I met one of my close friends, Leah. She knew a lot of b-boys.
oh, cool.
And then through her, I met these b-boys, and they're like, "Oh, try it." And I'd always been active,
Right.
and so they had me. It's funny, they had me try a drill, and I got like 1.5 rotations almost, like 2 rotations almost. It's when you're like you kind of do a head spin, but your legs stay together.
Right.
It probably was like one. It probably wasn't like that many, but I guess I did it. I didn't get that for a while ago, though.
Right.
You know, when you get a move once
Yeah.
and then you can never do it again for a while. So got that. Got into breaking that way, and then I transitioned into stunts when I moved to LA, and it was unintentional. I didn't even realize I could even go that route. I thought I'm gonna go dancer route, and then just at the gym, I train Joining All Movement. It's up in the valley. There's a lot of stuntmen that were around us, and a couple of them were like, "Oh, you look like you have good body awareness. You should try some kicks, and you should try this." And actually, the nice thing about breaking is we're so used to like hitting the floor, or like I'm used to messing up a lot anyway.
Right.
So it's like, I'm just not finishing the move. I can do that.
Smart.
But yeah, that's how I kind of transitioned over.
Sorry,
I'm good at messing up.
I know, it's
I'm
okay.
good at
It's absolutely,
following.
that's badass.
Because you're not flowing into like when you do stunts, just like you're mid flow, you get hit, and you just stop.
Done.
Well, makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's funny because even in breaking, we have things called suicides, which is literally like we call them headers or seiuchis in stunts where you're just doing a front flip to your back or something to the side, and we call them suicides because you usually do that, and then
Right.
You're like,
or something like that,
so
you know.
breaking,
So-
people call me out for it, but for this, I'm gonna get paid to interrupt.
Yeah,
my
well,
moves?
even at first when I moved here, I was like, oh, we can get paid pretty decently to dance. Okay. And then when I got into stunts, I was like, this is like only doing power moves. And that's
So-
it. Like just power moves. This is awesome.
Where did
yeah.
you?
Awesome.
Where'd you move from?
Well, from that point, I was actually living in Korea for a long time,
okay.
about 9 years.
Wow.
But I originally grew up in Utah. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
so-
in Utah.
in Kaysville, it's about 20 minutes north of Salt Lake City.
Oh.
So when the scene that you were just talking about, this was like in Utah and back in high school.
Yeah, I started in Utah, and I was actually fairly lucky because the b-boys I met were really deep in the scene. They went to all the like national events. They went to Freestyle Session, B-Boy Summit, all these big events that everybody knew about. It wasn't like a lot of people I also knew just grew up breaking in their
Stayed,
garage,
like, yeah,
looking at videos, but
locally.
they didn't know about the scene.
Right.
So I was lucky enough that I as soon as I went,
Wow.
I saw all these different people, and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and then Korea was just crazy.
Korea is like their b-boy scene is like off the chain.
Yeah,
It's
they
crazy.
fixed a lot of my power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I had power moves before,
Mhm.
but as soon as I went there, they're like, "Oh, Lee, you're doing this with your leg, and you got to do it like this." And I was like,
my god.
"Oh my god, that works! That's so
So,
crazy."
For the people who are not into the b-boy scene, or like, what can you explain on what a power move is?
So power move, if you see people, pretty much if you see people spinning or like windmills or anything on the ground, anything that's just flares, anything that's really big, fast
Front
movement is
flips.
probably power. And then there's blow ups. I did a lot of blow ups, like one arm rollback or like hand hops, or hand hops is when you like bounce on one arm.
Right.
And so
Yeah, like behind
that-
us.
Wow.
That's more of a
Dang.
freeze.
So freeze, you have to
Freeze is like you
I assume.
stop.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But if it's an animated GIF,
It's just a picture going up and down. Nothing's happening. Like, oh, she's
You
not
definitely got to
moving.
show off these moves to us once the cameras stop rolling tonight. Seriously.
We're gonna have to make a room.
Yeah. Well, I'm tiny, so
I've seen her. She could do it from this table.
Right.
She just has to hold the table like.
yeah, I could do a drill on here.
Wow.
But-
Later.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
When it was like a couple, no, just
A couple drinks in. Yeah.
and that was the last time I was invited here.
No, that was the first time.
So what was your first the first stunt project you worked on?
The first was actually this when I first got into stunts. They had kind of like I guess it would be new media. It was a short, like a Star Wars thing.
Oh, cool.
And I was just like one of the little like people in the back, like falling or anything. But it was like a YouTube channel thing.
Nice.
And that was like my first one. And then my first official gig was for a show called I think it was Bunked. It's like a kid's show, like a camping show.
Oh, cool.
They just needed me to get hit with a ball, which is crazy.
Just take
It
one to
was-
the face.
It was
Take a
weird,
fall,
yeah, because
right.
it's because I was like, everything's training. I'm gonna flip, land on the ground, do all this other stuff. And so when I got there, I was like, okay, because I was nervous. This was my first big job, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I do this. I want to be good. I don't want to disappoint. I want to make sure everything's good. And so they throw the ball at me, and it hits me, and then I like flip and hit the ground. And they're like, oh no, we can't. You can't do that on a kid's show. It's kind of like too violent.
And kids
and I
might
was like,
copy it.
oh yeah, and I was like, oh okay. And they're like, yeah, just fall down. And I was like, okay. And so it's when the next one like hit me in the head, and I fell down. They're like, oh, we can't use that one because it hit you in the head. And I was like, okay.
Oh.
And then the next one, because the little girl was like throwing the ball at me, and then I think one of the last ones, she threw it. Totally missed me. I fall down, and they're like, "Great, moving on." And I was like,
I can't believe
"This is awesome. This is I can't believe I got I felt kind of bad, because I was like I think even after even after the first or second tape, they're like, "Are you okay? Can you do more?" And I was like, "Yeah," because compared to the dancing gigs, it was night and day. Because I did like a One Republic music video where like they had me kind of like on a desk about as a little bit, no, it's about the same width as this. And I had to do hand hops, which is just like, two-handed and just jumping like through part of the verse.
Yeah.
And we had to do like a good 10 something takes.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, like it's not too bad. I can do it. But they were just like, oh, they do this all the time. They're fine. And then go to stunts, and they're like, are you okay? Can you do it again? Are you good for another one? And I was like, yeah.
I'm sure that
so
ball.
nice.
They just added that ball in post.
Yeah. They're like, they just have a picture of me there. Like she's freezing. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I was hoping that your answer to that would be like traffic. Your interpretation,
Huh?
The little short we did a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wait, what short?
That was actually in the middle of one. So I was super new, but I had done like a couple gigs before that were like some fighting ones. So where were we? It was in
That was like in a basement.
Yeah, it was in like East Hollywood or something like that. And it was in a basement, and it was kind of like this
it was just a really
it was just a fight, but it was kind of funny because we had like these boxes. I ended up doing like a B-twist into some boxes, and I was still like trying to figure out, okay, do this, but I was like, I think we can do it this way. I'm not sure. But
you look great. That the way the kick connect, because it was a stunt where it's a spin kick.
Yeah, it kicks the face, and then
does like
I
a Hong Kong
into
spin.
like some boxes, and
it
like,
looked legit. We were like, oh, hopefully we don't want to get too close to the face, but then it looked legit. And that was a great spin. Like I do remember when we shot that, you did it, and we were like, oh snap, that was good. And we're like, okay, let's do two more just for safety. And then,
it was nice because there was like those cardboard boxes.
Yeah,
the arts and crafts of stunt world.
Yeah, we did not want to hurt you.
I appreciate it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you is there like a stunt person school? Like,
there are some places that do that.
But you didn't.
No, I was very fortunate enough that I was just at jam every day. Like every day. I have no social life. I don't do anything.
At the gym every day.
Yeah, at the gym.
You're
At jam.
total nerd. Oh,
Jam is
the
like
name of the
gym, but
Okay.
it's joining all movement. It's I think before it was White Lotus, and then they moved, and then Travis Wong and Aaron Toney and
Travis Wall?
Wong.
Wong.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah,
Travis
and
Wall from So You Think You Can Dance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Him and Jake Hong, they have a gym out there that they made, and a lot of stunties go there, and I was just there every day, and I just sometimes chat with people, and then after a while, a couple were like, "Oh, you should try doing this, or you should try doing this, and you should try some kicks." And then I got sucked in, and then someone offered me a job and try something, and I was like,
awesome.
"Sure."
You don't need no stunt school, right? You're just a badass.
I think it just depends on the route. I mean, I think stunt school can work for some people, and as far as it's good to meet other people that are doing what you're doing and learn a lot of good basics. But I also, a lot of people end up getting in through a lot of them are specialty in something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've met like Red Bull divers and that are doing, like they do high falls. Like nothing, and so much good air awareness. And there's a lot of martial arts people. There's a lot of people from NASCA, I believe it's
NASA.
I'm really not NASA. NASCA.
Damn.
It's like
Astronauts trying to.
it's I know. I was like, they're gonna kick me for this. Get it wrong. I'm obviously not part of that. But yeah, there's that, and then there's just different venues. I know a lot of people that came from one of the girls that was on Birds of Prey. She was a roller derby girl. So she's the girl that's riding on the back of the car and doing all that. And she was awesome.
So, speaking of Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
What a segue.
Nice
quick,
segue.
just want to say what's up to people in the chat. Hey, Dan, what's up? And also, Guts again. What's up, dude?
Hi.
And you have also worked on like huge films. Birds of Prey, Jumanji 2.
I was very fortunate.
I'll let you say.
Yeah, I have been working on Avatar, which has been really good. But I'm just on their day playing like whenever they need me. So yeah, it's been great.
What was it like working on Jumanji 2?
That was an awesome experience. I had a great time. The coordinator, Wade Eastwood, was amazing. He was so much fun and so good to work with, but he was still like very like, we need to get this, like do this. It's not good. Like he never said it wasn't good, but he was like, he would be like, no, you're not getting it or get it. And it was great because he was very like straightforward. And I like that. I appreciate that because then I know if it works or not. And he was awesome. Their team was awesome. And I had such a great time and it was so much fun. Awkwafina was awesome. She was so down and like chill and really cool and everything. And yeah, it was a fun set.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you get to go to the premieres and stuff?
No, I think it depends. I think it depends on the movie or because we do stunts, but we're not main cast.
Right.
So, and I don't really mind too much. I just like that we're, we can be useful. We can do our part. We can do something cool,
So I have a question about like being on set and when certain fights occur. So like, do you answer to like a fight director who choreographs these things before you execute?
Yeah.
Them,
so
do you have any input in like what fights go on?
This one was actually, this is another reason why it was so awesome. Wade Eastwood, he actually has done like a bunch of, he did the Mission Impossibles. He's doing Mission Impossible now.
Right.
He's done tons of movies. And his fight coordinator, Wolfgang, is amazing as well. And he actually did. I think they helped with some of the fights on Witcher. The one with the girl and the one with the group.
Amazing. The first one.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So good.
He's amazing. And he was awesome to work with. And he was like, there'd be times that I'd be like, oh, what about this? And he'd be like, oh, well, the story is like this. We could do it like this. So maybe not that. And I'm like, okay. And other stuff would come up and I'm like, oh, maybe this. And he's like, oh yeah, that could work. And it was very easy to work with them. They were so like everything they did. And usually it's like that. Usually you get the script and then you see what the fight is. And then you kind of figure out, this character's like this character's like this. This is probably how they're fighting or why they're fighting. And then this is probably what is going to happen. And then the coordinator the fight coordinator puts it together too. So a lot of them have like fight coordinators as well as stunt coordinators.
Just a real quick question about stunts, because I know there's people who they're like, I could just do stunts. I could do this and that and coordinate this. But one thing I don't think it's talked about often, and maybe you can elaborate on this, is safety.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Safety is for these, because there's a lot of guys out there, especially even when I was coming up or starting film school, like everyone's like, oh, we're going to do stunts is this. And I'm like, and some of it's dangerous.
Yeah.
You're hurting, you might hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Because I see this. And yeah, can you talk about safety on set?
Yeah, of course. That's always, in all the sets that I've worked on, that's been the number one, is about safety. If we can't get it safely, then we're not going to do it. There's also this thing where it's like, there's also the old school mentality and the new school mentality. A lot of the old school mentality. I mean, there's some older stunt performers that are amazing and they can just chuck themselves and they're good and they survive and they can do it, but maybe another person can't. But they're still amazing performers. But nowadays, a lot of it is about safety, and it's about how can we do this and have it look good, but still be safe, because no one wants to get hurt, no one wants to die, no one wants to no one wants to. Everybody, like a lot of coordinators, they feel responsible for their team, you know,
Right.
and it's vice versa. As stunt performers, we need to be aware of like when it's safe for us, when we can do it, when we can't do it, and safety is definitely number one for sure. And that's the hardest thing with coordinating is it's not even just you could do this, but you still want to prep in case things go wrong. Like this guy's supposed to go straight, cool. He's supposed to go and then turn here if it was a car, and turn here, and it's like cool. Well, he's supposed to turn, so that's all. And they might have stuff here, and the coordinator would be like, "Oh, well, just in case, let's just clear everything out here," because it's like you never know, and the coordinator is usually aware enough, or hires his team of riggers or fight choreo people or anybody to help with.
Yeah, so they're not just thinking of the stunt itself; they're thinking of everything that happens around the stunt. What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in the end, I think that like it looks super cool on screen. It's like badass. But when you think about, there's somebody in that car right now, or like somebody taking that bump. Yeah, exactly.
Lee's in the car.
And I think especially what happened after in Deadpool 2, right?
Deadpool
with
2,
that
was
woman who the fatality and the motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah. Wait, what happened?
In Deadpool 2, there was
she went through a plane of glass, yeah.
And because she didn't have a helmet, because the stunt required, like, she was supposed to be playing domino. And
I'm not. I think I'm not sure she had a helmet.
She didn't have a helmet on.
There was another incident.
There was another one.
Like I think a bigger one in the stunt community was Olivia on Resident Evil.
Didn't she lose an arm?
Yeah,
I think
she
that
got
one
in a
was
really
an
bad
amputation.
accident,
Yeah,
I remember
and it's a lot of it is just like it's hard to say because I wasn't there, and it's and it unfortunately sometimes things happen, but sometimes a lot of it can be like communication between the stunt coordinator and production. Sometimes that's what happens is like if they don't have good communication with the stunt coordinator, that's very important. That's why they're there. So. Yeah, so
not to bring it down.
Walter.
No, I mean it's very important. Even on, I'll say like even on Birds, with the roller skating thing,
right?
An awesome rigger, Steve. He made this wire setup to go across the whole drive that we were doing.
Right.
So just
that was
already
so
like the length of it and the weight of it and the weight of her going in the car and everything.
The car, right?
It's a lot of weight and distribution and stress levels.
And somebody had to take a spill on that motorcycle.
And then exactly stuff like that. And it's like you want the best people that kind of stuff is.
Yeah, and
they know it in and out.
Yeah, and not to bring it, I didn't mean to bring it down or nothing, but I just want to like show, like I just want to talk about like how the risk that you know, folks like you in the stunt community does just for film and to entertain people and.
It's a very big part, for sure.
And gosh, we definitely appreciate and like value the work that you and the rest of the stunt community does. I mean, it's
absolutely,
amazing.
Thank you.
Great work.
Like movies would be nowhere without that. So I'm glad there's some kind of protection now.
It's been good. I think like I've been very fortunate with the teams and coordinators that I've worked for. I felt very safe with, and they rehearse, they fight for their time to rehearse. And they, I feel very safe with them. So
great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Shout out to the teams.
Yeah.
So, Birds of Prey, huh? So I just saw that today. Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I really enjoed it.
Oh,
honestly.
that's good.
I could see the faces already. And
I enjoyed it. What are you talking about?
No.
Oh, okay.
you had this face.
Oh, Caitlin, I smiled. That's just my face, Earl. Dear God, that's just my face. I really enjoyed
Caitlin
it.
does have like a knowing smile of like, I have a lot to say about that.
That's just all you guys.
I have an opinion.
Right.
That's why we're here. It's a podcast.
I totally enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun watching it. Like seriously,
Oh, it's good.
And I want to say that like a lot of the other DCU movies, I after watching BVS like Batman versus Superman and Justice League, I was just I was kind of averse to watching the rest of them, but like because they were so dour, and that was not the case with Birds of Prey. It was a lot of fun. I don't know. What did everybody else think?
I mean, the fights were awesome.
Yeah, they were.
Those
I mean, but it makes
Ooh.
sense. I mean, because sorry.
No.
But I mean, I was only on it for reshoots.
Okay.
One of the main doubles for the main shoots was Marissa LeBog. She's awesome. She was like X23's double on
No way.
Logan.
On Logan.
Nice.
She's super nice, really cool girl. And she was on this one. I was just on for the reshoots.
Right.
But I think one of the reasons why the fight and the action looks so great is because 8711 was like in charge of it. So
Right.
8711, if you don't know, they did John Wick 2, 3. They did Atomic Blonde.
Oh,
They've done
wow.
a lot of movies
Atomic Blonde
that
was like, yeah.
that a lot of like their team has been in like the stunt world.
Right.
The main guy, Chad and David, like they've been in movies. Chad was Keanu's double for all the Matrixes.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, like they know action in and out. So it was awesome getting a chance to work with them and see how they operate. That's why the fights
so
look great.
cool.
Yeah.
And Margot did an amazing job.
She's
She
amazing.
I
rehearsed.
bet.
She picked up movement.
Right.
They taught her very well, but she picked it up very well. And she was down. She never complained. She was
Right.
always happy. She's always excited to do it. And she, like that part, and when she jumps in the car and fights, that was her.
Nice.
You know, so
I in particular loved the bat fight in
Me too.
I
was gonna
loved
bring
it.
that up.
Oh,
In-
in
I was
the
gonna-
the police
mean-
holding.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so good.
Can I say that,
Yeah.
like, you know, what you were mentioning about, like, fight choreographers coming up with how a person should move, like,
Right.
as the character in the world of the character.
yeah.
It was so interesting. My favorite moment was
Most
also
favorite-
that.
sorry.
My most favorite moment was also her battling through the police station because
Yeah.
she's using, like, abnormal weapons, but also in a very creative way that like is reminiscent of her character, right? Which is like manic and outside of the box and left field. Like the way she uses a bat and like kicks it over. You never see a person using a bat like that except for Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
she uses in a
Suicide Squad.
right?
Yeah, that's her
Mm.
weapon
Makes
of choice.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why they had that in there for her.
Mhm.
So she's like,
Right.
"Oh, I found it,"
Yeah.
because she did a lot of. Some of the crazy wrecks though was Renee Moneymaker. She's awesome as well, very talented. Her sister is actually Heidi Moneymaker, who did like all the Black Widow, like she doubles Black
Oh,
Widow and stuff. So those girls are dope, but they're really
bank.
awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
That's why
they're
they're called
amazingly
Moneymaker.
talented, but they work hard. They put in the work. But she did that, and just their recs and their movement, and even the choreo. And she
Mhm.
practiced with the bat,
Oh,
flipping it and
was so
moving
good.
it. And Margot did, and they killed
And
it.
I mean, she's the producer also, right?
Mhm.
So she's like,
Oh yeah, I
She-
actually
oh,
She is the
wasn't sure
producer.
that.
She's a producer.
I know
You
all
knew
the
that.
stunt
So
side.
she's
Mm.
so she's very invested in.
Oh, that's
getting it
good.
right.
She did great in it. I thoroughly buy her as Harley Quinn. I don't think anybody.
Yeah, she's great.
Can
in
do
it.
her that.
Yeah. What's up, Rodney?
Lee, which parts were you in then? You said the reshoots,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
what made the cut?
So
and like are it's definitely you.
for the most part, since I was doubling Ella,
Right.
Cassandra Kain, she didn't have as much action. I think the most action she had was in the evidence room.
Right.
But like I was trying to be helpful for the previous. I was there, so we'd stand in bodies or anything for previous. But as far as actually stunt stuff, my only couple things was like in the evidence room where I like knee slide in between the legs, or when Dennis he has me and then he gets shot and he falls.
That's right. Yeah.
So I had to like fall, but she's gonna do a move, so this might ruin a little bit of the move. I fall and they're like, make sure you get over. So I was like, I go fall, but because I don't want to be in the way, I just like fall, roll until I hit the car. Okay, I'm out of the way, so.
That ruined the whole movie for me.
Yeah, I was like, it's
I
funny
don't
when
need to
you-
watch anymore.
When you start to get
Spoiler
so used
alert.
to seeing everybody and what they're actually doing, and then you're like, oh, I can see what she was doing that.
Yeah.
So everybody watch that part. Watch her
Yeah.
roll.
Right.
Watch that roll.
But, yeah.
Really quick. In chat, what's up to Gabriel Bosco? I love how they answered the question, how many legs can we break in this movie? That's very true. There are many hyper extensions of knees. That was great.
Yeah, that was awesome. Anis's leg when he
Yeah. Then I was
Yeah.
like, damn.
I think
it was
crazy.
so good.
Shout out to Tony Beans.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah.
Hey.
What's up, Tony? Shout out to 8711. Yeah.
Hey,
That's okay.
yeah,
With that
87.
stunt team, I think a lot of those guys too are has a big background in like Filipino and Indonesian martial arts. I think that's like
Yeah, a lot of them. I
Stick
think.
and Kali and Salat.
Yeah, I think a couple of them they trained at Inosanto's Academy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So a lot, I could see a lot of the movements that they were using. I mean, even in John Wick, like you see a lot of the movements.
A lot of
well, John Wick is actually really interesting too because I mean I was always listening to podcasts and even like Chad talks about it too. And one of the main reasons they fight like that in John Wick was because they had a very short amount of time.
Mhm.
Usually, if it's like a new movie where they're not sure, they're like, "This is all you get. Now do it." And you're like,
Right.
"Okay, make it work." And I think the biggest thing with stunts, especially with fighting, is getting someone that's not used to moving to try to like throw punches, stack punches, make it look like it sells without like
right.
making it look good without like
hurting anybody.
anybody or like taking too much time.
Mhm.
I think that's when they figured out judo was the easiest thing to teach. That you can make it look good because
Right.
the
Just
stunt
take a
guys are the
fall.
ones that just need to go,
Right.
you know, and Keanu like trains hard.
Yeah.
But it was like one of the key reasons why they used that form and the reason why he fights the way he fights is because it also in the amount of time that they had, that was the easiest that was the best to make look good in that short amount of prep time.
Wow.
Just
So
being
there's
able
a
to
reason
slam
to it.
and
I
throw
know.
people.
Yeah. But it's awesome.
Makes
You know,
somebody
you see
learn.
someone just go,
I know. It's very visceral.
yeah.
Especially when the stunt guy,
Right.
it's like, it's literally the stunt guy does 80%. Like, you do this,
Right,
they'll
right.
do
You do
and
the-
Yeah.
It looks like I just threw the crap out of you. It's like,
It's funny when you like. I don't know if you guys watch MMA. Like when
Yeah.
you watch
I do.
MMA, and sometimes
Totally.
they'll like hit them and they'll clock them,
Yeah.
and you just see,
yeah.
Nothing.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they'll just be
yourself.
like,
But inside
it's like the kidney hits. You know, like
Right.
when someone hits a kidney and it takes like a
They're like,
second
they
and a
just
half
crumble,
for it to
yeah.
like work up. It doesn't really look like
right. It
too
hurt.
bad of a
Yeah.
hit until you see like some of the other guys.
Right.
So then it's definitely up to the stunt man to be like sell the hit, make the timing look right, you know, make it look really good for the other person. So,
Yeah.
Can you imagine just taking an actor off the street? Hey, you're going to learn wushu today. Like, you know?
I would love that. If that happened to me, that would be the best day
Right.
ever.
Great.
But so in Birds of Prey, there's like a whole flock of female,
What?
Yeah.
like, you know, anti-heroes that come up
Mhm.
and like they're all different personalities and they all come from different backgrounds, right? There's the cop, there's the delicious Mary Elizabeth
Huntress.
Winstead, my wife,
Yeah. I'm
and
close.
Harley Quinn, of course, Ella Jay Basco's character,
Black
and
Canary.
Black Canary. So they're all different personalities. Like,
Yeah.
did you find out that on set they had like different fighting styles? You know, were they trained differently?
I think when I did the reshoots, it was mainly Harley Quinn's fights.
Mhm.
I didn't really get it. I know some of the girls that doubled for the other girls,
Mhm.
and I think all that had already been set out.
Mm.
But it was mainly like knowing how Harley fights, and I actually didn't know at first going in that Ella or Cassandra Kain was more of a kind of like the MacGuffin, the person that they were
Right,
after.
yeah.
Mhm.
But so I was a little bit like, oh, okay, like because I have Cassandra Kane's first appearance, and so I've had her comic books.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
So
so,
I was
yeah.
like, hell yeah, you know, Cassandra. Oh, okay, you know,
Mm.
that's
hope
okay.
they-
You know,
I
at least
hope
she's mentioned. There's
Right.
there's still that part of fan of you that's like, oh, they're at least they're in it. You know, they mentioned,
Exactly.
they know,
Yeah.
you know. So
I hope they keep going with the character and get
Yeah.
to
It would be
the part where
fun.
she actually gets to do the cool stuff.
yeah, because she's
For your
she's
sake.
a badass.
Yeah,
she is absolutely badass.
I mean, I would love to do it for sure. But even just to see it on screen, I mean,
Right.
I'm sure, I don't know about you guys, but even like growing up, it was very rare to see females, especially Asian females,
Mhm.
be like badass, but with a character.
Yep.
Right.
Not just like the quiet, like
Side
kung
piece
fu
kung fu.
girl.
Right.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's why I was
Which
kind
is
of like,
totally a
wow.
trope.
Which
Mhm.
I just want to ask, like, when you got that call to, and you know, you found out that you're doing Birds of Prey, like,
Mm.
how did that feel for you personally?
I mean, it's funny because I was about to be on the main one, but I got confirmed on Jumanji like right before they called me to confirm me.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh man, I don't get to do that. But I was like, but this sounds fun as well. And then I was actually at training when they asked if I was available. And I was like, yeah. please.
That's cool.
Please.
Yes.
And in my head, I'm like, yeah. And then when I saw him, I was like, yes, I'm
You're like, hold on, let me check my schedule.
Well, so, how
I
cool
was like
is that?
sad face empty. Like,
Yeah.
I think I can.
I'll
I think
squeeze
I
you
can do
in.
it.
Yeah.
You got to be Cassandra Kain's stunt double. That's so dope.
Yeah, I mean, I was super hyped about it because
Yeah.
I have all these comics of her and X-23 and
Right.
That's cool.
all these
man.
other, yeah.
Although I do wish you would have been like, wait, why not Harley Quinn? No.
I'm tall
saying.
enough.
Yeah. Just a wait, come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Do you find that you see like more representation in stunts these days?
You mean as far as
Like women of color and
yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's I don't know if it's necessarily I'm noticing it more,
Mhm.
but I think in American films it's been kind of a bit of a mix. It's nice to see, in John Wick, Halle Berry are in this, like these girls are fighting. So
Mhm.
it's nice to see it because it isn't that common. But yeah, I see it, but it's like inching because it's still up to like who's available, who
Right.
can do it, who knows what they want to write. I was actually really happy with Jumanji because they actually gave Awkwafina's character they gave Ming a lot of action to do.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh, sweet. And it wasn't like the typical Asian girl role.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that like start to kind of break out. And
Yeah, and I did like and the action scenes in Jumanji. I mean, I enjoyed the new series and like that
oh,
was-
that's good.
and then when I found out that you were a stunt double, because when I was watching that, I was thinking like, I wonder if I know that stunt double.
Oh, yeah.
there's
Right.
not that many like
There's only so many
females
Asian
like
Yeah.
like who would fit Awkwafina's body type. So I'm like, I wonder if I know. And then
could
like,
that
lo and
be?
behold, I was like,
That's
that's awesome. And then because where did you guys film? Was it?
It was in Atlanta.
It was okay.
Yeah, we were in Atlanta. Like we were out there for 4 months, which 4 months, which is a really kind of a short turnaround for like a whole movie. We did it at the beginning of the year, and then the movie came out in December, which
Wow.
is crazy.
Wow.
But they were
Yeah.
like, they knew what they wanted,
Bang
and
it
it was
out,
like
yeah.
here. But yeah, it was kind of like nice that they gave her character a lot of stuff because at first I thought I was like, bloop, and that's it.
And I think it helped the fact that like she was playing a guy who's playing her character who was
Yeah.
not, who was basically a white guy.
Yeah, well,
So-
I was super happy that it was like she's perfect for that role, and then it was awesome that it wasn't like the typical.
yeah.
Asian. I was
Asian role,
super
right.
excited about that.
And
That's so cool.
and actually before I went into that show, I didn't realize she was in that until like
Oh,
she
really?
showed. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
they
know
kept
until like
her-
we were
in
reading
it.
the briefs. So,
They kept
like,
her really
yeah.
hush hush. Like in
Yeah.
the trailers, you don't really see
Yeah.
her. You don't know how much she's in it. Like when I heard she was in, I was like, sweet, dude. I didn't know she was going to be one of the main characters
Right.
Yeah.
in her, and I was like, oh,
She's not on any promo.
Yeah, I thought she was
Like-
just.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna be like an NPC. Or,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought it was going to be too. So when she was a part of it, I was like, and when I saw how big of a role, I think they were doing it because they knew if they were too obvious about it, people kind of figure out what's going on.
Right.
And I think they
she's
kinda
a
wanted
major
that.
plot point too.
Yeah, because like in the movie when they show her, they're like, "Oh, okay, that's okay, crazy," you know.
Well, I gotta watch Jumanji too now.
Oh, it's a
yeah.
fun-
I
it's a
also
fun
didn't know
movie.
Well, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy
It's a
it.
fun movie.
Yeah.
The first one was fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was surprised. I was
Yeah.
expecting it to be kind of cheesy.
Oh,
And it
same.
was,
Yeah.
but
To
I
me,
mean,
the-
it was.
it was
but, like, yeah.
but it was fun.
But
Right.
the best part is watching The Rock and Kevin Hart do an
Oh.
impersonation of Danny DeVito and Danny Glover. It's hilarious.
Dude, like Kevin as Danny, both of them were just
Right.
hella funny. I think that was the only hard part of working on it and then seeing it because they had so much good stuff in between. Like, I can't wait
That
till the
didn't make the
bloopers
cut.
come out.
Right.
Yeah,
You wish
but-
they were rolling the entire
yeah,
time.
that you're
right.
like, oh, dude, that's so funny.
Ugh. Sounds like a super fun set to be on.
Yeah.
So, did we want to touch on some story elements from Birds of Prey? real quick?
I don't know.
So Kevianne, what do you guys think?
Yeah, dope. So-
It's not like I scoured the internet for a picture of her.
Oh, yeah. We watched
Dude,
what we
that is
found.
a
Wow.
sexy ass picture of
Yeah.
her.
Right,
though.
right, right.
She looks contemplative as fuck.
She looked like that every day on
Where's-
set.
Now,
She
was she
like-
the one directing you, or you have? Or
She did. I think for the reshoots, Chad Stahelski.
Second unit.
He was doing
Mm.
the fights for the reshoots and
Gotcha.
everything,
Right.
because it was all action, and it was
Yeah.
he knows what he wants and the best way to make something look good and
Mhm.
the
Right,
shot. So I was
sure.
mainly under him, and then for a couple
Yeah.
other ones under her.
So
That's cool that you got to meet her and got to
Yeah,
work with her.
yeah.
Though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like the premise of the movie, right, is sorry.
Yeah.
The premise of the movie is when Harley Quinn and the Joker break up and she actually finds herself, right? Or she
Right.
finds her own strength. And in the meantime, she picks up all these ragamuffin,
Ragamuffin.
Ragamuffin
New
vagabonds.
word.
Say that 10 times fast.
Ragabonds.
Of other women who are damaged in their own ways, but
Hmm.
find strength in each other, right? So, what did you feel about the backstories for each of the characters, like as you met them in the movie? Do you want to do a go around?
Sure. Yeah, I thought it was I'm honestly not well versed on DC stuff.
Mm.
So I was like, this is cool, this is chill. I didn't have any problems, like huge ones that like popped up when I was watching, but then I was also working on other stuff. So
How dare you?
I know.
Lee's here right now. Or
I know,
make
sorry.
something up.
It was awesome, all of it.
I like seeing Huntress's backstory. It was actually really
She was my
in
favorite.
depth.
Mhm.
And I was kind
right.
of sad that we didn't see as much as the others, but I know there was a lot of people. But I think like it was nice that they tried to, they dove a little bit into who they and why they have that drive, and they kind of did for Black Canary as well.
Yeah. I did
So-
want to know like more about Cassandra Kain.
Yeah, I really did.
Yeah.
I think it's hard because her real backstory is so vastly different.
Right.
Because I think her backstory is David Kane is like this big assassin, and he made her. He literally like bred her
Right.
for an assassin,
Mm.
and so it's a very different than how she is in
Kind of
this.
League of Shadowsy kind of.
Yeah, but it might still kind of turn into something
Right.
like that because you're not
Still
really
time.
sure. But yeah, she was great. Huntress was great, and even was it Cortez or
Rosie
Yeah.
Perez.
yeah,
Rosie Perez, yeah.
like her character, the typical cop
Right.
girl that was
Mean
in
girl.
it. But
Right.
I thought it was a nice like mixture of personality, but without it being too vastly different.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I like how Rosie Perez.
Perez.
It was
I
Perez.
always say Rosie Perez.
Perez.
Damn. I'm not a POC. Okay. So Rosie
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez.
Perez.
Really?
Perez.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
No. So I think it's really cool, an relatively
Right.
older woman of color
Yeah.
playing frontline. How often do you get to see an older woman
Right.
play a strong, dominant, kind of sexy role?
Yeah.
Alongside all these other women. It's an all-female cast. Why are you looking like
What are
that,
you trying to
Walter?
say, Caitlin? What?
No,
I just
I'm
remember.
talking about Hollywood standards.
Right.
Once you're
Right,
past
right.
35, you're old hat,
Absolutely.
So I think it was cool. And then there was a scene where like kind of see her bra for a second.
Right.
Sorry, I'm being weird right now. But that's political. Like
It really is.
like in a way, it's somewhat like it's not objectifying, but we're showing that an older woman can have sex appeal, right? And still kick ass. at
Haley
the same-
Berry has a lot of sex appeal.
I was
Well,
just.
I don't know Haley Berry, but I'm
Halle
sure
Berry?
Halle Berry has.
Halle Berry does.
Oh, excuse me, Perez.
You know what?
Perez.
I was just thinking about the shirt that Rosie Perez was wearing, like when she had to change
What
out.
did it say again?
I shaved my balls for this.
Yeah. It's funny when I came on for the reshoots and she was wearing that, I was like, oh, that's an interesting costume choice. Because I had no idea any
Yeah.
context behind
Right.
it, what happened.
Yeah.
But actually, one thing that I liked, I mean, it was still pretty heavy, the
Right.
feminism and like girl power and everything. It was still very heavy, but I like that it wasn't as like, I think there's a couple. I love the Marvel films; they're really fun.
Right.
But that one part in the Marvel movie when
Yeah,
it's like
in
she doesn't
Endgame.
have,
Oh yeah, yeah.
she has help. I was like, bro, she just like smashed a spaceship.
I know.
What part are we talking about?
For Captain Marvel.
Endgame.
In Endgame, when Captain Marvel
Yeah.
come in, and then
It
all
was-
the
It's
women.
the all-women squad.
But all
Yeah.
the women, and I was like, weren't they
It was
like
really
on the opposite
ham-fisted.
side of the
It was-
battlefield? And she was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's our photo, you know?
But it's Captain Marvel. She
Yeah.
doesn't need your help.
Yeah, no, I was like, when they were like all behind her, she's like, oh yeah, like she's got us. And I was like, she just destroyed
A
the
spaceship.
battleship
By
Yeah.
herself.
by just flying through it.
She just
like,
tanked
what do
a
you think she's
headbutt
gonna
from,
do to
like,
all these little
Thanos.
minions?
I'm like,
you know?
I'm glad you said it. Not
Yeah.
any of us.
But I'm actually one of those where it's like, it's kind of hard because I'm not really like, you know, the word for feminist now is very like extreme.
Right.
And so, I mean, for myself, when I've seen what like the word has like changed,
Mhm.
but I like that there's still girl power, but without it in your face. Like kind of like Westworld. I love that Maeve and
Dolores.
are
Right.
the main characters, but it doesn't feel like it's like, yeah, girl.
I see what you mean. It's not too heavy-handed.
No, it's written very well to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel ham-fisted.
Sorry,
basically.
I mean, no offense to Star Wars, but you know, when in the Force Awakens, Finn grabs
Right.
her hand and she's like, "I don't need your help."
Yeah, that's
It
the
was
kind of stuff.
I was like face palming so hard. Like,
Well,
I don't need you to hold my hand, Finn. I was like, could you be any more damn obvious?
I
You know,
know.
like, sorry, and I'm a feminist.
and yeah, and that's the thing that I hate is like that kind of stuff where it's like, I don't need your help, and it's like, bro, like you're very insecure because someone that's not insecure
No
would
one
never
was
say
thinking
that.
that, yeah.
They'd be like, dude,
I
thanks,
mean,
you know.
Ray is insecure. She doesn't.
Well, that's
Right.
the one thing, like the qualm that I have with that versus like even Birds of Prey is like the thing with that I've always felt about a lot of Star Wars, except for like Ahsoka,
right.
is like
Clone Wars, new Clone Wars, yeah.
they're very like Avatar. They're very audience
Right.
Avatar made, so they don't really have a personality.
Yeah.
Where I appreciate that at least all these, like, you know exactly
Right.
what they're going for. They have their own personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Their personalities
Own
are getting in the
motivations.
way of like
Right.
them being the best of
Yeah.
who they are.
And you bring up a good point. And I wonder if that has to do with, and probably does, with having a female director do that. Whereas
Mm.
in Endgame and I think Star Wars, it was
Mhm.
J.J. Abrams. It was like it's a male director,
Mhm.
so he's like, yeah, I think this is what they want.
So, but yeah, I know we're talking about a lot of properties right
A
now.
lot
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, there's a lot. But we do. There are a few other things coming up in geek culture that we do want to get to, at least touch a little bit before we end this episode. Thank you so much for being here, though.
Yes.
That's very
Thank you for
eye
having
opening.
me.
Yeah, I mean,
Cassandra Kain on our
yeah,
podcast.
I know. What the hell?
Damn.
Here you heard it here first. I don't know what that means. But if you would like to join us, we're going to talk about some other stuff. So if you
Yeah,
have
for
any
sure.
input,
I'm
yeah.
down.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of stuff happening in gaming. First of all, Cyberpunk 2077. That's coming up, right?
Who's that smolder
Bye.
right there?
Delayed,
Yeah.
but probably for a good reason.
Yeah.
By CD Projekt Red, which
Right,
is the
CD
same
Projekt Red.
Polish producers of the Witcher
Oh
franchise.
yeah.
So this is their like deviance from the Witcher series after
Right.
finishing Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. It's going to be using the same mechanics. They've been saying that Ciri might make some kind of appearance, not as a featured
Right.
character, but as a wink in the world.
There was a previous
Good.
Cyberpunk, wasn't there? Or no, I'm thinking about something else.
So
Never
is
mind.
that to say that the worlds are the same, or is it like Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts where you like?
That is to say something about Ciri that you would know if you play the third
Right.
game.
Oh, I
My-
get it.
my
Yeah.
guess is-
I know what this is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
really? Oh, okay. Never
Well-
mind. I was gonna guess that it was
Oh,
just like
I-
billboard, like
Oh.
it shows Siri in the back.
You know-
No, oh, go on. Yeah.
It is usually. I mean, it was delayed, but I for one don't mind that these games being delayed
Yeah,
Mhm.
same.
because I would rather have them just
it right.
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
work on it and like perfect things, polish things. There's like I've worked on the other side, on the production side of video games, and it gets crazy once like milestones come around.
Oh, I bet.
So, you just. I love that people are getting more time to work
Yeah.
on these things. So,
I mean,
and
yeah.
perfecting it.
yeah, I totally agree with you because like whether it's Cyberpunk or Final Fantasy, like get it right, get the coding right, because I don't want you to crash my PS4 or whatnot.
Yeah.
Just because, or have to sit there wait like a whole day to have like your
Right.
patch
The 0-day
Mm.
patches suck.
download. Yeah. and I'm
Yeah, and so much, and it takes like hours to
Always
download,
hours.
and then
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, it downloaded,
Yeah.
installing
I know.
You're like, oh my god, just
because it's basically re-downloading the entire game.
yeah. And especially nowadays, it's so hard because production of a single game
Right.
is so much, and nowadays the gaming world's not going as easily for consoles as it is. For,
It really isn't.
Yeah.
And
So-
like, because production budgets for video games, especially the big AAA's, they're as expensive, if not more than Hollywood blockbusters these days. So
Imagine having a movie that's like 200 hours long.
exactly,
You know?
Yeah.
and all the things that you go with that. Just not just the coding, but like all the actors you have to pay. And,
Yeah.
But another downside to lack of time and production is also story value,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Like we saw that happen in Mass Effect 3.
right.
You know, when they just kind of like
And to a
booted that
certain degree,
out.
Andromeda, right?
What you choose doesn't matter.
Right.
You know? Like it becomes like a disaster for audiences, for the franchise, for everything, you know? So I'm glad that they're doing the same thing with Final Fantasy VII, the remake. you
Right.
know?
What a
Which
great
is what we're talking about next. I'm
See what you did there.
super excited.
I'm so
Super
freaking excited.
I'm super
The
excited.
whole thing looks like it's like with the same engine as like Advent Children,
Right.
but playable.
Playable.
And more like Kingdom Hearts like. You know?
Eh.
They
So-
originally said it was going to be March 3rd, right? But now
Right.
it's been pushed back to what?
I think fall sometime. I can't remember.
Are you sure?
Something like that. I don't know.
Someone should have done copy.
I know.
Today's episode.
I'll check.
But
Talk
so
amongst yourselves.
somebody,
Ask the chat might know.
chat. Do you know?
Wait, let's not forget there are people joining us through the chat. We can have a dialogue with them as well. They probably know more than us at this point.
Well, at least they have like super
I'm totally
access because
fine
they're on their
We're like
computer.
on
with
a
the
show
delay.
right
Yeah, I'm totally fine with delay as well.
And I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Somebody dropped actually
April 10th.
April 10th. So it's really close.
Yeah. Okay.
Close.
Somebody dropped what could possibly be the OST, the official soundtrack on YouTube today.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Could
it's-
possibly or
could possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like a hidden link, like somebody possibly. But it's most of the stuff that you remember from
Asian, we can do that.
Final Fantasy VII. No one winged angel though yet. So
No one reading. They're
Yeah.
not going to show that until the very end.
Right,
I mean, that's going to be
absolutely.
climactic.
That's a surprise.
I cannot wait. Oh my gosh. I mean, turn-based is no longer a part of like the zeitgeist
Right.
of modern gaming anymore, which is kind of sad because I liked
This is gonna bring it
turn-based.
back. This is gonna bring it back.
I loved it.
Well,
but
we'll
not
see.
really
I-
because this
I
is
was-
more
were you
I was
okay
cool
with
with it with
turn-based?
like I played Pokemon,
I
and so
love
I love Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I'm actually really bad about turn-based games
Turn-based?
because there's a part of me that'll be like, why would I wait for him to hit me?
in real life.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Did you like?
I'm a very impatient gamer.
Right.
I like the ones where like Ninja Guy, like, you know, like,
On
just
hate it.
Xbox,
Woman
that was so
coming up.
hard.
yeah,
It's
I
such a good
remember.
game, though.
I took it to work,
Mhm.
Yeah.
played it at work.
I feel like this, at least the battle system looks a little more active.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Is like kind of a hybrid between like ATB stuff and like maybe the Tails stuff.
Yeah.
Like
That's what it
third
looks
person
like,
too,
right.
and then there's like a 3-party kind of team.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm excited. Come E3 in May, we'll see what they drop.
Yeah.
So
Well, it'll come
Well,
out
you know,
before.
yeah, it's
Oh,
out in
that's right.
April.
duh, Earl.
Hey, I wasn't
April
sure either. I was
comes
like,
before.
yeah, that's right.
We're just
You
gonna get
learned
it.
something today, kid.
All right.
So also coming out, Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh,
They're so cute.
They're kitty.
I love them. They just want to be your friend.
I have never
wanna
played an
cross.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, you know, it's
So
funny.
who
I've
here has
seen it a
played
lot,
Animal
but I've never
Crossing?
played it
I've
as
never
So no
well.
one's played Animal Crossing.
I played Animal Crossing.
Okay, good.
Okay. No one cares.
I know.
Wait, 10 seconds.
Go.
Okay, so you're trying to make friends with animals, and you try to gather resources so you can build a village together and be better friends with each other. That's the whole point of the
Yay.
story.
Hey.
And on the indie game front, there is also Salam. Jen.
Oh
you know
yeah,
about this one?
this is a game that I just found out about. It's an indie game company by Junup Games, and this was made by a guy. His name
Uganda.
is
I forget his name.
I forgot
But
his
he's from
name.
Uganda.
His name is.
He's from Uganda, and
That's all you need to know.
His name's not
oh
Janook.
my god, no,
Junup Games
It's
is
not
the
Junup.
studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
We do our research here.
That's
he
interesting,
produced this game and he designed it because it's based on his own experiences as a Ugandan refugee.
Wow.
And the entire game walks you through the life of somebody who is trying to flee war-torn countries
though.
and what you have to do to gather resources, how to save yourself. And in game, you can actually make donations to
That's
refugees
amazing.
as part of the
Oh,
game. So,
that's dope.
you know, and in this interview, he was talking about how like this game was inspired by his need to create social change, you know, and this is his way of giving back. And he says there's no better way to build empathy for audiences than to put you as the protagonist of somebody and make you
Right.
understand what that's like. So the game is called Salam.
Mhm.
It's spelled SALAAM. So check it out if you can. It seems great.
Woo!
And I definitely think that like video games are like probably the prime vehicle for that. To like,
I think
step
so,
into
too.
Yeah,
someone's shoes,
to
yeah.
be
Yeah.
immersed in something.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Mhm.
Absolutely. On the TV front, Westworld 3, Westworld Season 3 is coming out.
The third world.
Westworld 3.
The third Westworld.
The third Westworld.
Well,
The third
because
one.
they're in a new world. Right?
Yeah.
They're in the world.
They're in the
Really?
real world
Actually,
now.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
So I haven't seen season 2 yet.
Yeah, me too. I always
I
thought
saw
the
it.
first one.
I know.
Did you watch?
I watched all the
Caught
both
up,
seasons.
yeah.
The first one's still my favorite.
Me
I
too.
hear.
But
Same.
Yeah.
there was an episode in
Lee, are you? Let me. Important question.
Yeah,
Team Maeve or Team Dolores?
I think I'm Maeve.
Yes.
I like
Damn.
Maeve. I like
Yes.
her. I like her character a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that still feels like Doris is a little bit
She looks so
programmed
evil.
to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
Doris,
Oh.
Doris
It's like-
is
Do you know what I
God
mean?
awful.
Doris or Dolores?
Dolores.
Sorry,
Oh, like, I was
Dolores.
Doris.
She
Yeah.
feels like she's like, I mean, she probably was a little bit program pushed towards that as well. But she kind of, to me, felt like hers felt less direct
Yeah.
at the time than Dolores
So
did.
Maeve is a very emotional.
Yeah, like
Whereas
hers
Dolores is
driven through-
very driven, almost too analytical. And it's almost like
Yeah.
what they are trying to do.
Yeah,
right?
and they're
Whereas
really good opposites.
And so the grid opposites, exactly.
Mm.
And then, season 2 kind of ends like where they all basically
They all
come
escape.
out. They
But-
all escape.
But the
And
really
so,
Oh.
it's so
Yeah.
from the trailer and from what it's showing it looks like it's outside, but then
Yeah.
again, you
It
never
could be the
know.
Matrix.
It could be
Yeah.
like another
Yeah.
world.
yeah.
Right?
I'm
So you have
really-
like Samurai World, and then they have the
Mm.
West World, and then
Right.
this also could be another world that's just literally
Uh-huh.
modeled after ours,
Mm.
or it could be they
It's
really are in the
true.
world now.
I'm betting that they're in the real world.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
And
I think
Dolores-
she's trying to everything that happened in Westworld, they're trying to level it up to
Yeah.
I mean they say it in the trailer where it's like
Increase the
this
stakes.
like you
Yeah.
like you're the one that they're trying to keep
Mhm.
down. And it's kind of like a little bit of a class system thing of how we
Yeah.
have it
Right.
now where it's like you should
It's
agree
like
with
Hunger
me, you
Games.
know? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very similar because like that's what they were sent to do. That's what they're made to do.
Yeah.
And they're kind of stuck in this system that they don't want to be stuck in. And she's trying to, give that same idea to this guy, this working class guy that's
mean,
stuck here.
My prediction too is that I think Dolores and Maeve is gonna go head to head because, like I said, if it's people are gonna start dying, it's gonna be like real lives now, not machines.
Yeah.
Right.
And I almost wonder, it
Hey,
would be
machines have
kinda-
real lives too.
it'd be kind of crazy though if they end up like not really converging, but they end up like because they're countering each other. It's kind of like
Right.
it feels like something like they would have to coexist or something together. Kind of an
I don't know
idea.
if Dolores is willing to coexist.
No, well, her
My
it's
way or
funny
the
because
highway, I think.
yeah,
Well, we're
but I
gonna
also
find
feel like she
out.
has a very specific. She has a very specific. It feels like she wants to make a new order of things.
Mhm.
I don't think it's just necessarily that she wants to just murder all like higher. I think she just wants to change the order of how
Right.
things are going. Almost maybe.
We'll see.
We'll
I
see.
know, I'm
We'll
excited.
see. With season 3, I don't know when that's dropping. We'll find out.
No, yeah, when is
Chat,
it?
when's it dropping? April.
Oh, April.
Also April.
Everything
Is
here
there-
should be dropping within the next 2 months.
Okay.
That's why
When's
it's
Rick
good
and
to
Morty
know.
coming out?
I know.
Yeah.
Come on. Penny Dreadful is coming up.
Ooh.
City of Angels. So based in what is it, 1920s?
Yes.
Los
Mm.
Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting. Well, I haven't received any casting for that yet.
No. Natalie Dormer.
Oh,
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
they're
like,
filming it right now.
Breakdowns. I haven't seen any breakdowns for
Oh,
this.
Earl's an
Oh.
actor and he wants to be in it.
Yeah.
He's just being
Oh.
selfish.
Because the producer's like, there's no Filipinos in LA in 1920s.
Yeah, we came down from Delano. Hello.
We did, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What? There's no little
Our zoot
Filipinos.
suits.
There's no historic Filipinos.
Did you guys
there.
ever watch Penny Dreadful or all the seasons?
Yeah, I watched Penny Dreadful.
Did you watch all of them?
Not all
There was
of
like
them.
several seasons,
No, no,
right?
no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Three.
3 seasons?
yeah.
I watched
I
the first
heard a
season.
lot about
I've
it.
been sleeping on
I
that.
like it. I like
I saw the first season, which was fantastic, and a lot of people were upset that I guess the story wasn't finished, right? They kind of
I
just
don't think so.
it was like
Yeah.
it was left on an
Mm.
unfinished note.
Oh, because they want that, like, hey, we can finish it.
Well,
in the
is that
next
true,
season.
Rodney?
You haven't watched all the seasons?
I haven't seen all of them.
I've only seen the
I've not
first
seen
one.
any.
It ended very definitively.
Oh, it did.
Mm.
Okay.
It did.
Oh, okay.
It did
So
have
there
a
was an
very
end.
definitive end.
Mm.
I
But-
would say that I could see where some people were unsatisfied with it in the sense that it could have went longer. So almost like it
Mm.
ended definitively, but it ended short.
For an
Oh.
American show, because
See,
we
the
want
thing is,
8
like, it-
seasons.
it-
No,
Minimum.
we don't.
Yeah.
I like when they're short.
Yeah, just let it
No,
go, right?
it-
Yeah.
It's good.
Short and sweet.
It's
Good.
literally one of my favorite shows
Fantastic.
of the last like 10 years.
Well,
Wow.
let's watch this
So,
together.
It's amazing. I mean,
Like a
just
British
Evergreen.
show.
Yeah, I
Well,
wanna check
Evergreen
it.
alone, like her performance alone
Right.
is amazing.
Harry Potter.
So
Yeah.
she has
Yeah.
actually Natalie Dormer has a lot to like fill.
Absolutely.
So
But I think she's probably capable because she's a great actress. Anyways, moving on.
Well, yeah. So Westworld 3 is actually going to drop March 18th.
Oh,
15th.
okay.
Thank you,
Oh,
chat.
Coming
Thanks,
up
guys.
soon.
And I mean, finally, this, I know people were showing up, they had pictures at the premieres. My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising
yeah.
has dropped.
Yes.
So,
Who here watches My Hero Academia?
Boku no Hero? Yeah, I'm all up on
Boku
it.
no Hero. Why don't you tell
I have
people
no idea,
about?
I'm just kidding.
Did,
No, I do. I watch it.
oh, okay, great.
I
I do watch it.
Cool.
Did you watch
Did you
all
see
of
the
it?
latest one?
No, not the latest.
Oh, okay.
It's been
I'm
in
on
and
season
out.
2.
A lot of people might not like that I say this, but I liked My Hero Academia, but there was a lot I also didn't like.
Yeah,
And I get that it's for kids,
right.
but yeah. You guys are probably like, you fucking hate it.
sounded
I'm
like-
like,
Speak your mind.
I liked it a lot.
Right.
I like the premise of it and the character. I really didn't like the main character. There's a part of me
he's
that I was
very
like,
hard
he's such
to
a little,
like.
He's a bit of a little
you know?
bitch.
Yeah, he is a
Deku?
bitch.
Deku
and
is like,
when he was like
yeah.
gonna tell the dude what happened and how he got it, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man giving some dude the glasses, and
Right.
you're like, why?
Like half the time I'm just, dude, shut up and nut up.
Yeah, it's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe there's a
Right.
reason why you don't. But
Yeah.
I mean, but I like that there was a lot in it. But they do a lot of the, like remember when this happened like 15 minutes ago, and remember when this happened last episode. And
Right.
I feel like it could be a really great show if they cut the fat of some of it. But I also understand that it's like it's usually designed that way, and most of the people watching it are young. It's like a really young audience.
Right.
So I totally get that. But I think that's why that's the only hard part, because like I like it so much, but there's so much of I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this
It's like Naruto or like all the long running
Also,
Yeah.
1,000 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
There's like really good
Too much
moments.
filler.
And then there's just
Yeah.
like stuff in between. Yes, Infernal plus Ultra, totally.
Mm.
Guts, Heat, Full Cowlings, absolutely.
That's it, you guys.
I think that's
Oh
it.
yeah, but
End on time.
that's all we
Oh.
have for like coming out in the geek
Oh
world.
wait, someone
Mm.
died recently.
Yes, and then we have that. So
Okay. end on a high note.
well,
Yeah.
after this we'll go into Geeky Rex, I think, a little
Okay,
bit,
great,
right?
great. Yeah.
But shout out to Katherine Johnson, a NASA scientist. She passed away today at the age of
Oh,
101.
101.
And
I
Yeah.
saw that
Hidden
as
Figures,
well.
right?
Yeah,
Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Hidden Figures was based off of what she did for NASA.
I mean, black really don't crack. If you realize that woman
She
was
looks so
101.
101 in that? No.
yeah, she's 101.
Doesn't matter.
She's in
It was
her
somewhere
90s.
But
around there. It
even
can't have been that
then,
old.
She
Yeah.
looks great.
So
Look how classy
she-
she looks.
She
Damn.
basically was in charge of writing the math, and she only did her math by hand. And
Right.
her numbers were what got some of the Apollo missions into space.
There was a
So-
story. Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead. That's it.
There was a story that John Glenn, like even though they were using calculating computers to calculate trajectory and all that, he wouldn't feel good about it until she hand checked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Hats
That's
off.
awesome.
yeah.
Katherine Johnson.
Imagine being that good at math.
I know.
I know.
Like
I
next
suck
level
ass.
nerd.
And we're like, I don't know why we're doing these
I know.
curves.
What is a proof?
We thought we were nerdy.
I think
know.
it does this.
Imaginary number. Why do we need that?
Her name was Catherine Johnson. Yes, Catherine Johnson.
Rest in peace and thank you for your service.
Indeed.
Yes,
Thank you.
So we're going to close off with everybody giving their geeky recs for things they're watching or they're digging on right now.
All right.
So
Cool.
does anybody
2
have
minutes. Let's go.
it? Yeah.
I'll start. My Geeky Rex is something that just came out this week on Amazon Prime, which is Hunters or The Hunters.
Oh,
I
did
heard
you
it's
like
great,
that?
yeah.
Is it good?
It's a great show.
Okay.
Like, it's deep. And
We
AJ
do know somebody.
Calamai,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
edited it.
Oh,
yeah.
Hunters.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's just it's awesome because it's using historical. It's kind of like Watchmen. It's using
Right.
historical events as a backdrop to,
Mm.
and there's a lot of parallels to kind of like what's happening now. And yeah,
Mm.
Jordan Peele is the producer, and you're just like, it's kind of scary because you're like, is this real? But it's
Cool.
based on a comic book. Yeah.
Anybody
okay.
else?
Okay,
Geeky recs?
so I have the three-body problem, or Santi, as it's said in Chinese. It's a science fiction novel by the writer Liu Qixing, but it's the first of 3 in a trilogy, and it refers to the three-body problem in orbital mechanics, and apparently it's really, really
Right.
Mm.
fast-paced. So Amazon picked it up for a
Ooh,
series.
nice.
Ooh,
So
nice.
So if Amazon hasn't picked it up, is it really a thing?
No,
I don't know.
Basically.
It's like a tree falling in
I
the
just
forest.
got Dying of the Light, which is the first, I think, novel ever written by George R. R. Martin.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
sci-fi book, and it's about a planet that is slowly moving outside of its natural orbit, away from the sun.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
some people conjecture this might be a kind of thing that George R. R. Martin really liked because the seasons in Westeros
Right.
Mhm.
are abnormal.
Yeah.
So there's where you get like the
Oh.
multi-orbital
Gotcha.
theory as to
Yeah.
why Planetos has.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Planetos.
Yeah, I went there, bitches.
Hey.
we like to call this balls deepery because we go
Balls
balls
deepery.
deep in geek. Yeah.
Oh, got you.
Go ahead, Lee.
Well, since we're going there. Well, you know,
What I got for
AC's
you?
off.
Ooh.
I've been telling a bunch of friends about this, and it was actually the coordinator I worked for on Avatar, Garrett Warren.
Right.
James Cameron actually suggested this to him because he's like, it was great, and we got hooked in. It was Dark. It's that German series and it's about like time and
It's
like,
on Netflix, right?
It's on Netflix, yeah, and we watched it dubbed. And I usually like subtitles, but I actually appreciated it dubbed this time because the voice actors are pretty good. It gets a little awkward at first watching, their mouths not
Sure.
move at the same time, but then you actually get to really see them. The acting is incredible in it,
Dark.
and the story is really great, and just what the characters do. Like the characters are so well made, and the story is so like intricate and
just
so
one
crazy.
season?
No, it's actually 2 seasons,
Oh.
and the third is going to be the last season.
And how many
And
episodes?
it makes sense. It's about 8 or 10
Oh, so
episodes
it's
each.
bingeable.
Yeah, but it's an hour. We binged like 6 episodes the first night. We couldn't
Wow.
stop.
Wow.
And
Jen?
it's just so intricate because it deals
Right.
with time travel, but it also deals with like
Oh my god!
Is that a spoiler?
Me and
no,
Caitlin are
it's
gonna have a night.
because
Oh, okay.
and I was worried it would be.
People,
travel in
I was worried it would be because they mention it at the very beginning.
Okay.
And then it starts off with a kid
Like
in the
disappearance,
a kid in the 80s went missing. And then in the 2000s another
Missing
kid
people.
goes missing. And they're trying to figure out what's going
temporal
on. Right?
separation. Right.
But once they dive into like what's going on, you're like, "Oh, wait, what the fuck? Wait,
Okay.
what?"
Okay, we're good. We're good. We're
Yeah.
good. We're good.
Cool.
Stop there.
All right,
You're
so-
sold. We're sold.
That was
You're sold.
Dark. That's what is that on?
It's on
Netflix.
It's dark
Netflix.
on
Okay.
Netflix, and yeah, it's great.
Shout out really quick to the chat. An anime with a very long name I can't read. Itai wa nano boku shitai no onimasu.
You can stop.
We're running out of time.
Thank
It's like
you,
one of
Guts, for that.
those
Thank you for
grounds
that.
where they make you say something
Thank
dumb.
you, Gabriel Bosco, for the bits. Yeah.
Yay!
I don't have any geeky recs because I do nothing.
Aw.
But like watch stuff for this show now. So that's it. well, that's the end of our episode for today. Thank you, Lee, for being
thank
here.
you for having me.
Super cool. Thank you. I hope you had a good time joining us at the
this
table.
was awesome.
It's
I love nerding out.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, everybody in the chat. We'll be here next week. Probably not in this space, but we'll be here in this digital space on twitch.tv/PanGeekery on Mondays, 8 p.m. Shout out to Aaron for being our location sponsor. And thank you to the cast and crew. We'll see you next week.
Hey.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
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 Adios.